Okay, hi everybody. I'm actually out here to make my own presentation, and it's based on a file I've been working on over the last several months, and it's something that's probably people would think might be topical. I've been building on work I've done previously over the years as learning agents, as a consultant for organizations like HPAS in the humanitarian sector, and also the Inter-American Development Bank. On the Open Badge Factory platform, it's also based on work I do helping clients on the CanCred platform in Canada. You probably know that there's a certain lack of trust in the United States in particular right now, and there are reasons for that. Apparently, studies show that although most people broadly support the notions of democracy, they think the other side don't. And this leads to something called the subversion dilemma, where if you think, well, if they're doing it, then I'll do it. And basically, things end up basically going south. So this is just based on some Pew Research data that was done a few years back. But a number of organizations are setting themselves up to try and make a difference, to try and build trust, to try and bridge between the sides and have a more civil dialogue in civics and democracy. So, however, there are hundreds of organizations, there are dozens of consortia of organizations, there's a lot of potential for confusion. So you got to come up with a way of pulling on the same rope. So I'm going to see if I can just sort of quickly play this. So basically, there's a short video on the Civics website that explains to nonprofit organizations what the benefits are of this. And I actually have slides further on that explain the benefits. So, but the video is quite good. It's a great way, sort of a minute and a half, 2 minutes, that explains the video. So who is it for? It's for individuals, and those individuals are across the spectrum. So they could be students in K-12, students in post-secondary, they can be just your average citizen, they can be elected officials or candidates for office. And the idea of saying, I pledge to do this, I will do this, these are the things I undertake to do. And it can also be election workers, and that's more the skills, I can run this, I can do this, I'm certified to do this. So it's, again, it's that notion of a spectrum of recognition. And all of this is at the sort of federal, and as well you have collectives. So in other words, it's not just individuals that get things done, it's groups of people, it's organizations, it's communities of people that actually get things done and deserve recognition for what they're doing and want to express what they're doing to others. And this works in the US at both at the federal and the state and the county level. So this is a message that they sort of express to the organizations, why you might want to do these kinds of things, establish standards, talk about your quality. We had that workshop on quality earlier today. This is about quality in the notion of civics work and encouraging investment. So in other words, here's what's going to happen to your dollars. Here's the impact they're going to make. Here's how we're going to track that. Improving your own image, actually displaying yourself out there, and encouraging collaboration, connection to new opportunities and things like that, and just making everything more visible. So I'll just sort of lay this out. You know, some of this is going to be familiar. You're basically sharing your learning and achievements. You're building your footprint. Here are my skills. Here's my path that I'm following. Here's me advancing in my career, but also here are my values and my goals, and here are the things that I'm working towards. Similarly, on the organizational side, you have ways of tracking and onboarding and developing the people who are doing the work for you, whether they're on staff, whether they're volunteers. You're building your digital footprint. When people share those badges on LinkedIn, of course, they're advertising the organization that issued it to them as well. You're disseminating the mission, you're getting the message out there. You're engaging new supporters and motivating to act on those beliefs and that engagement. And you're tracking what they're doing. So, and as well, you can reward key achievers, people who haven't just done a course, people who've maybe made some impact in the community, and you want to value that in them. And so that's the issue for them. So they have set this up, again, just in terms of pulling on the same rope. They have what they call the pillars. And so civic learning would be that would be often in the schools, etc. Bridging divides, it's more about dialogues and setting up events where you actually have exchanges, where it doesn't end up in a negative situation. And then this whole notion of elections and governance, demonstrating that things are fair, training people to be efficient at what they do, handling difficult situations, etc. And then this whole notion of trusted information and building sophistication around that. There's actually a fifth pillar about volunteering and service, but since that permeates everything, they decided to drop that so as not to be too meta about things. So most things are defined in those 4 pillars. And this is something that we have set up, adapted, as I say, from previous times. The thing I would emphasize here is that it's formal on the left, quite formal on the left. So basically you'd have certifications that would be, this person can fulfill this role or this job. And it's being done rigorously, maybe not to the ISO standard, maybe it's a specific program that set up that certification, but it's a robust, a rigorous thing you can trust. The learning part, those would be courses and programs that might be assessed, might not be assessed, but certainly structured learning. My favorite is the action and engagement one. So as you're moving a little more informally, what did I commit to do? What did I actually do? What did I actually achieve that I set out to do? And what's my role today? So I really like those because they sort of get away from the usual notions of micro-credentials. And then you might have awards. And, you know, I talk about this with associations a lot, and I'm sure many other people do. But you can also have sort of more ad hoc awards that might be distinctions. You know, thank you for doing this for us. And then, of course, the membership. So I'll go, now that I've established that, I'm just trying to move fairly quickly through this to pick up time. So, of course, you have that meaning. You want to demonstrate that meaning. So the whole idea is when you open up a badge, you should have some expectation of what you're going to see. What's the story of this badge when you open it up? And so they have taken the sort of badge image language stuff that's been done by, for example, HPAS in the past. People might remember that. And apply it to this. So they have the pillars. The gray one is actually sort of general or multiple or some, you know, non-specific. And then you'd have the shape, the more hexagonal shape being the more micro-credentially, the more structured one. And over on the right, the more sort of casual one. And then various grace notes and things along the bottom. Those stars along the top indicate that it's a milestone, for example. And this actually gives a lot of scope. So just showing you a pathway here. Here's a pathway from Citizen Connect that shows I touched all 4 pillars, so I got the milestone. I got the milestone badge. Here's one. They have, I just need to change this because it's the wrong thing I'm looking at. Oh, well, anyway, never mind. Just to say that they have there's an index put together by the Pell Center, I think, and it's the index for, what is it? Basically, how suspicious are you of the other side? And so they have a pre and a post and basically say, I don't trust conservatives. I think conservatives are a danger to the country. Answer yes, you know, from 0 to 10. Likewise, I think liberals are a danger to the country. Answer 0 to 10. And then they pre-test them, they post-test them, and there's actually a little API or a little integration that's being done with the API with Open Badge Factory to track that and pull that out and analyze it in things like business intelligence, BI. This is my favorite, actually, and I don't have time to show you in detail, but the people who put together Team Democracy behind this platform met whitewater rafting. So they came up with the idea of Raft for America, which is basically you put Democrats, Republicans, and independents in the same boat, and you push them out into the river. And then you see who comes out the other side. So, and then they interview them, they have a big dinner, and they have discussions, and they realize the other person's a human being, and it's just an experiential way of getting people to do that. So what I've mocked up there that I had on my own laptop that I don't think I'll take the time to show you, is you could tell the story. You could do a mini doc of that river journey in the badge, and I've done it with pictures, etc. But you can actually see on the CBS News video when I shared these slides, they actually did a little mini doc of it, and it's a really charming video. So similar to, if people remember what Stella Porto showed last year in Vienna, this is a highly controlled system right now because they're working with hundreds of small organizations. They can't really fully onboard them all to say, here's how you make this badge, here's how you upload this image. It's, here are the criteria, these are the badges, here's a content template for you to fill out. Give it to us, we'll validate it, and then we'll take on it for you. We'll be the issuer of record for now, okay? And it's just to do that scaling up. And actually, Stella has found good success with that, and Chris Newland over at Team Democracy picked up on that. Next steps, adapt and scale, bring lots more on. The passport, they have their own dedicated passport, Civics Credentialing passport. So after you get the badge, you can join this community on their entire passport, engage with other badges, engage with other individuals, get news feeds, etc. They decided at this point to sort of de-emphasize that, but once they hit scale and it makes sense to start reaching out to lots more other people online, they plan to bring that to the fore. We're developing a framework. So one of the reasons I was asking about the quality system earlier is I think we'll probably port some of those concepts from Nereus's and Sandra's quality framework into that framework, also adapting, of course, from the Inter-American Development Bank, and put that out there and say, this is what we're about, and this is how these badges align to that. And then evaluate, adjust, pivot, etc. I think I've come within time. Just to say that I'm hoping to bring Chris Newland here next year. They always expected to be still going hammer and tongs after the election, no matter what the outcome. So this is a long haul that they need to do. And I think it's just a wonderful example about how badges can be more than certificates, basically. Thank you.